Hello and welcome back, everyone. Scootsy16 here with another episode of the Chemlock League. The favorite season has ended. We went 3-13. Yeah, it was a mess, and you can see why looking at this team. Well, we lost two players in the re-sign phase. It was Cumulo Lawrence, who did not want to come back at her current salary, and Turf Woodard. Okay, we're fine with them leaving. So what is the game plan? Well, I put together a strategy. I have written out some notes here. I have some players I want to bring in. I have approximate prices I want to pay them. And let's talk a little bit about who's planning to be coming back. We're not going to replace both of our catchers. We are going to be bringing Tucker Long back. While he doesn't fit us chemistry-wise with his trait, he does with his actual chemistry being scholarly, and you'll see why as we get a little bit further on. Nice little bench bat because we have a starting first baseman lined up for us. Of course, we'll have Jack Mars back. We won't be bringing back Skylar Stewart, or at least that's not the plan. We will have a new third baseman, and you'll be excited to see who that is here in just a few minutes, and a brand new backup player here as well. Then we are going to have shortstop will maintain as Sullivan Reddier, so we will see him coming back as well. Then we have a replacement in left field. It's going to be an average player. You'll see in just a few moments. Our whole outfield will change, except for Colby Foster. He's the only one that's going to be coming back for us. Still a development piece that I'm hoping can get even better in year two, but we won't be relying on him. I'm excited to show you who our new right fielder will be. Pitching-wise, Asher and Jess will be coming back for sure. We will have two new pitchers, pretty interesting options that I'm planning to be bringing in. I think our our starting rotation will be a little bit worse overall, but I think it has a chance to be even better. In the bullpen, we will see Cairo, Crisp, and Jericho still in the bullpen. However, we will have two new players in place of Larry and Amelia. So let's get right into it. Let's show you who I plan to be bringing in. Let's set the team up. So catching-wise, we'll have two new catchers. The first being All-Star Aaliyah Sesame. Look at that, Tier 3 Ace Exterminator from a 20-year-old catcher. She's a B+. She'll have Tier 1 first pitch Slayer, but I'm excited to see what she can do and develop into. Fielding is a little low, which I don't like, but a good arm, good contact, and really solid power, and I just think she has so much room to grow. So that's who's going to be our starting catcher next year. Backup will be Muhammad McCormick. Why? Well, kind of average across all of the spots where we want him to. Low power for sure. Tier 1 inside pitch, but Tier 1 cannon arm, I will take it. With 83 arm already, he'll be a nice little spot catcher, and he won't be a complete eyesore at the bottom of the bench as well. Who's our starting first baseman? That will be Tiger Gray. Tiger Gray, 22-year-old lefty. We saw him play for, who did he play for? The Dive Bombers last year. And I am really intrigued by what he has to offer here. Yes, he has an easy target. However, I think that that's one that we can hopefully get rid of, but also look at those attributes. I just think there's so much hope for him. Not a big fan of Volatile, but at Tier 1, it'll be a 12.5% faster rate, so it's not a big deal with his mojo. At least I don't think so. And then we'll have Tucker Long on the bench. Moving forward to second base, we already have Jack Mars, but we'll have bench 32-year-old Connor Sandoval with Tier 1 pitch perfect. Decent bench option. He can play second base when we need him to. Emergency starter at third base, which I'm fine with, but not ideal. But yeah, here's your third baseman for the future. It's going to be Fernanda Branch. She's developed even a little bit more since our time with the Outlaws, but very excited to see her come back for us with Tier 1 cannon arm and Tier 2 contact versus righties, which will be most of the time. So I'm hopeful for her to continue to develop as a 24-year-old. Outfield, or that should be everybody in our infield. Heading to the outfield, yeah, look at Tony center cut there. I wanted to bring him in so bad. He is scholarly, but we wouldn't be able to afford him with what I want to be doing. And tier one fastball hitter, I just couldn't really bring myself to doing that to him. But instead, we're gonna have Jonah Gonzalez, lefty with catcher as a backup position. He's not going to hopefully ever need to be used as a catcher. He'll have tier three little hack and tier one sprinter, good contact hitter, decent speed, good fielding, and he is 23, so an opportunity for development there. In center field, we'll be replacing Marv Panther with all-star Whistle Thornton of, I believe, the Protectors. Sewer Sneaks, excuse me. Had a great year, 6 home runs. He put up some power numbers, and he'll do everything, hopefully, we want him to do. Lower fielder, but I think that that's not going to be something that'll be a big factor. Solid arm in center, great speed, and good hitter. I hope he carries over what he did last year. And in right field, oh, and by the way, Milana Fernandez, who is somebody we were watching towards the tail end of the season, I do plan to be bringing her in. She'll be our utility infielder and outfielder with that really great fielding. Hopefully somebody we don't use a lot, but it'll give us a little flexibility on the bench. Right fielder, Odin Thomas, 26-year-old lefty, really great arm, elite arm. He's got great power, solid contact speed, and fielding, and he'll have tier 2 bad ball hitter. I hope he can be one of our best hitters in the lineup, along with Jack Mars and Tiger Gray. So we'll see what he's capable of as we continue on. We head into the starting rotation, and there we're going to be looking at who will be penciled in as our third starter. Clark Cohen, 31 years old, I believe related to Cairo Cohen, will be a lefty in the starting rotation and just kind of above average altogether with an elite curveball at tier 3. I think I'm okay with that. And then our fourth starter will be Colton Blackburn. He's a lefty with workhorse. He's got solid accuracy and junk. Very low velocity, which is unfortunate, but he's 23, and I think a chance for him to develop. I hope he can play pretty well for us. And joining Cairo, Crisp, and Jericho will be former outlaw Harvey Loncheros. Harvey used to be he played for the Outlaws last year as well. Look at that 2.35 ERA. So he wasn't great for us his first year, but he has gotten better. He'll be a lefty out of the bullpen with specialist and tier 3 elite changeup with really great junk and accuracy. And then lastly will be Kansas Gibbs. Kansas is a lefty with tier 2 reverse splits. So against all righties and switch hitters, he'll get that tier 2 reverse splits activated. Really great junk to go with his curveball and slider. Below average accuracy, but for traits and chemistry, I'm happy with bringing him in at the bottom of our bullpen. So that's who we plan to bring in. I have first player lined up to be selected will be Milana Fernandez. She's already below her price point, but I'm going to aim to get her at the 4.5 mark. So we're going to be a little patient with her. Clark Cohen, I'm watching for him to get down to about 7.8, which is right at his value before we sign him. So we're going to skip ahead a few. Oh, by the way, I also wanted to note a couple of retirements here. Fist Gallagher, I believe he won a a championship with the Dive Bombers. Turner Franklin retired for the Scroungers. Kaylee Holcorn for the Maulers. And then pour one out, fellas, because Jacoby Maddox retired at age 36 with the Dive Bombers. Former All-Star, former Outlaw. We'll miss him in the league, but good job for him retiring at the age of 36. So that's where we're at. Let's go ahead and fast forward a few rounds and see if we can get to a place where we can sign some of these players. I want to try and be somewhat efficient. Seville Spencer, former favorite, will go to the Dive Bombers. Gertie Vaughn will go to the Reapers, former Dive Bomber favorite as well. Let's see. Oh, my God, Milana Fernandez gets signed immediately. We just completely threw a wrench in our plans now because she decided to go with the Burners. They signed her at 5.1. I really thought we had a chance at getting her into the 4.5 territory. So now I have some pivoting I already have to do, which is why I did some scouting early on, but this is going to be unfortunate. So here's what I'm going to do. Sort by position, and then I'm going to sort by chemistry, and I do need to look for a spirited player. Actually, I believe... Oh, wait, actually, she is spirited, but we will have enough to be able to sign any outfielder that we want. So I guess let me do this. I'm looking for an outfielder that will be around the 4.5 mark that we can bring in. Grill Schaefer doesn't look good, and you'd only play 2 outfield positions. Finnegan Lawrence is a lefty, 40 years old. A lot of decrease there, and 5.5. Oh, goodness. What a position to find ourselves already. Bear with me for just a few moments here while I do a quick little glance around. Actually, how about that? Just right there. Dash Boyd, 19-year-old, 4.6. Yeah, we'll put him on the watch list, and I think I'll bring him in place of Milana Fernandez, who just got signed. So pivot saved already. Perfect. Okay, we'll keep moving forward here. Ike Perkins, Jeff Willis, former favorite, goes to the Burglars. No one in the fourth, or the third or the fourth. And let's go to the sixth. Let's go check on Cohen. Clark Cohen's at 7.8, so he is right where I want him to be. Let's go ahead and actually, you know what? He's 31 years old. I'm going to give it 2 more rounds before I sign him and see if that doesn't backfire on me. Okay, let's take a look now. All right, Clark Cohen down to 7.5. That gives us a little bit of breathing room in our budget. So I think I set us at around 11 million as surplus, but I'm okay with going a little bit more expensive if necessary with all the surplus that we've already built up. But let's bring in Clark Cohen to replace Cumulo Lawrence. And if you've never watched one of my off-season videos, what I typically give myself flexibility on is chemistry until I've signed all the players, because I can't necessarily control that. So I will get us back to our chem lack of 1, 2, 1, 3, and 2 for those tiers, respectively, in the bottom right-hand corner. So next one to be signed will be Mohammed McCormick. How old is he? He's 27. So I want to aim to get him at around 4.5. So let's see if we can get him a little bit around that price. We're approaching the expensive price point, so I actually want to be very careful here with some of our higher value players that we wanted, like Tiger Gray. Tiger Gray, still 1.2 over. I'm aiming to get him at around 11. Harvey Loncheros, want to get him at around 9.7, so he's getting close. Odin Thomas, had him at about 12.5, but I might have to pull the trigger on him a little bit earlier. And then I believe that's going to be it for right now. Aaliyah Sesame aiming for about 10.5. So let me go one more round here. Let's see if anyone dropped. Yeah, this is going to be a little tedious for a minute, so bear with me. It's these high-priced players that I have to be very careful with so we don't lose somebody that we were really looking to bring in, or really counting on our team, like Odin Thomas. I'm very nervous to lose him. I'm going to try one more round. I might backfire on me here. So Golder Jones to the Outlaws. They just got an ace reliever, potentially a starter for them, long reliever. And Jane Bulgar, another long reliever, going to the Bone Chills. And I believe while I was a little conservative, or I was trying to be a little aggressive, I might have to be a little more conservative with these 2 players. So Tiger, I wanted to sign him at 11 million. I think I'm going to have to go with the 11.5 here for him. Actually, who's our other? There's another first baseman that I'm watching that I like, but she was going to be a little more expensive. Sky Wall. Yeah, she is a lot more expensive. But I think she'll go before Tiger. Odin Thomas, 12.7. I'm not going to risk this. Is this 2.2 more than I wanted to pay, but it's worth it. So I'm going to bring him in to replace Rocco Marshall here. A huge upgrade on our offense there with Odin Thomas. I'm very excited to see him join the team. And then let's see where Harvey Loncheros is Um, Harvey's at 10.3. I wanted him at about 9.7. I don't think I'll get him at his price point, but I'm going to go one more round here. Don't let it backfire on me. Cork Duffy, I saw him, wanted to bring him in, but it was going to be too expensive. Juliet Carr, the elite closer, 3-pitch closer with tier 3. It would have been tier 3 elite slider, and tier 2 clutch would have been amazing. Goes to the Burners. Chirp Wallace goes to the Burners. Quentin Rogers goes to the Maulers. Kid Short, which I thought was an amazing name and player, couldn't bring him in, but he'll go to the Undulates. And Vincent Valdez goes to the Below Zeros. All right, that might be the point where I'm going to avoid risking it any further. I wanted him at 11. He's at 11.2. We're going to bring Tiger in right now, and he's going to have him replace Skylar Stewart. And then we had Harvey Lancheros. He's at 10 right now, and I wanted him at 9.7. I don't want to risk this one either, so I'm going to bring him in. Yeah, we're spending a lot of money here, but I think that these are top-tier players that will make a difference for us. So let's get rid of Amelia McKay. And if we have to spend more money, we have to spend more money. That's just the way that it's going to be. That's just the way it is. All right, Aaliyah is at 10.4. I actually had her at 10.5, so this will save us some money here. So let's go ahead and bring her in to replace Turf Woodard. And now we have our starting catcher, Muhammad McCormick. I wanted him at about 4.5, so now he's at 4.4. Let's go ahead and bring him in replace of Artichoke Taverna. Again, money is leaving our pockets, but for the cause. All right, Condor Sandoval. He's pretty expensive. I had him going at about 8.0, so I'm going to give him a little bit of time. He's 32, excuse me. So I'm hoping that with these great fielders above him, that we can afford that. I wanted Zuri Herman as well with Big Hack there, but Crafty will not fit our chemistry structure, which is unfortunate. All right, Fernanda Branch. I had her going at her price point, so I'm going to let it go one more round here before we pull her in. If not, I think if I lose her, then I think we're going to be in a tough situation. Jonah Gonzalez, I think I had him a little bit closer to his price point, so I'll wait another round there. I have a backup in Raiden Riel as well, so we can always go back to him if necessary. Center fielder, Whistle Thornton. Whistle, he's 27. There's a lot of catchers on this list ahead of him, so I'm going to hold on to him for a little bit longer. Dash, let's let him go one more round. Pitching-wise, Colton Blackburn. He's 1 over. He's 23 years old. He's a workhorse. I'm going to bring him in now. I don't want to risk that. And he'll be replacing Homer Harden. Yeah, just an improvement overall over Homer here and another lefty. So now we have 2 lefties in the starting rotation. And then, heading all the way down to the bottom, we're looking at Kansas, who's at 0.3 above. I had him going at his price point. So let's go one more round. And let's see here. Joshua Woods, really great hitter, goes to the Undulates. We're going to have to see him. Beans Mostis, all-star, goes to the Undulates. Case Hendricks, former favorite, to the Undulates. Man, they really went in hard here. I did like Maxwell Leach, but not enough that I wanted to pay for him as our starting center fielder. Braylon Bowden, rookie, goes to the Skulls. They also bring in Hassan De La Rosa and Cumulo Lawrence. So the Skulls have taken our former second starter in the rotation. They bring in Sky Wall, who is the other first baseman I was looking at. Tony Centercut will go to the Dive Bombers. That's going to be a stinger. I don't know if they're at tier 3 fastball hitter. I think they were, and he might be a menace this year. Dainty Angeles goes to the Undulates as well. Huerta goes to the Bone Chills. Eugene Alonso to the Undulates, and Chucky Meyer, starting pitcher, goes to the Dive Bombers. All right, another quick peek around the players that we're looking for. Connor Sandoval at his price point. I'm going to see if I can get him a little bit lower. Fernanda Branch, that's close enough for me. Let's bring her in to replace Forrest Ponce. We're done with the Forrest Ponce experience. That was such a disappointment. All right, next we have Jonah Gonzalez. He's at his price point, so let's go ahead and bring him in. He's going to be our starting left fielder. Goodbye, Vito Cummings. I liked him as a player, but he was just not good enough to be able to be somebody we could count on regularly. All right, continuing on down to Whistle Thornton. He's at his price. Let's bring him in. Goodbye to Marv Panther. We'll get a little bit of money back for that. Marv was just not what we were hoping for from the veteran center fielder. Good defender, but not much else. Dash Boyd. I think I need to bring him in. I just don't think it's worth risking it, especially after we already had to pivot once. There's not a lot of alternative options. We could always go back to Rocco, but he's such a downgrade. Fletcher, I don't mind, but contact at 24 is not ideal, and he only plays right field. And Augustus Mastiff, I guess, would be okay. Fielding is terrible, so we wouldn't really want him anywhere but right field. And Dash is a 19-year-old, so there's still a lot of development there for him. So I'm going to bring him in to replace Giselle Patton. And we're at 18.8. We still have, how many players do we still need to bring in? Our infield, we only need one more player, and we can always go cheaper with him, but that's the guy that I'm aiming to try and bring in. Outfield is set. Our starting rotation is set, and we just need one more pitcher to bring in, which I think we'll do right now. Let's go down to the relievers. Kansas is at 7.2, so if we bring him in to replace Butters, that'll get us to 15.5. And then if we were to bring in the second baseman I'm looking at right now, what would that look like to replace Devin Schultz? We'd be at 10.4. He's at 1.1 million over his price. I think we can wait one more round just to give ourselves a little bit of flexibility here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go one more round. Let's see. Miller to the Skimmers. Is that a center fielder? Pineda over to the Burglars. Sebastian McCoy over to the Burglars. He was the guy I wanted. Waylon Chung goes to the Dive Bombers. They're going to be really good. Bellotto, I believe, originally was a Marauder. He'll be back on his old team if I remember correctly. Tito Lucero to the Burglars. Lang to the Reapers. Muhammad David to the Burglars. Rookie with first pitch prayer and injury prone, so I kind of avoided him like the plague. Plus, he was a pretty bad defender as a shortstop third baseman. Cardboard Jacks to the Reapers. Escargot, second baseman, over to the Blurs. Ferguson, center fielder, to the Marauders. Werner Walter to the Burglars. Elia Costa, former All-Star. She's one of two players that have made it to 3 All-Star games. She goes to the Burners. Blind to Orange. I did like him at shortstop with Tier 3 Big Hack, but I wish it was Little Hack. That would have made him a lot more intriguing to me. He goes to the Marauders, Crimson Horn to the Protectors, Berg to the Blurs, and Glass Hartman to the Burglars. That's a rookie starting pitcher. All right, so I think that's enough for us to make our call on Connor Sandoval. Or I guess I can go one cheaper. Wait, Connor is scholarly. If I were to, yeah, because we already have way more crafty players than I can afford. Because I was still saying, like, if we weren't to go with, like, Zuri Herman here, we wouldn't be able to do that unless we got rid of a crafty player. And crafty would be, like, Muhammad McCormick, which I don't want to get rid of, which we could. Fernanda Branch, no. Odin Thomas, no. Asher, no. Jess, no. And Colton Blackburn, not a fan of getting rid of him. So I don't think we'll go with Zuri Herman there. Yeah, so I think let's go one more round. I'm feeling lucky here. All right, Olivia Dorsey to the Burners. She was somebody I was looking at. I think she is disciplined, so that's why I passed on her, especially with tough out there. Isaiah Lowbrow to the Pythons. Arbor to the Burners. Jay Tattersall to the Sewer Sneaks, Timber Pickles to the Maulers. I believe he used to be a Mauler. Villarreal to the Dive Bombers. They're looking really good. They're spending a lot of money. Swindle Bennett to the Dogs. Marino to the Dive Bombers. Cabrera to the Burglars. Gander March to the Burglars. Pennington to the Dirt Dogs. Low to the Below Zeros. And Stephanie Lopside to the Maulers. All right. Are we ready? Connor Sandoval, 8.2. He's just so... I just think he's going to be a good like backup player on our bench. I just think that that's a good place for us to spend some money. So we have a bench bat to go to. And when somebody is tense, we can bring him in as well. Other than that, just peeking at this lineup, I think we're in a good place. I don't think there's any other pivot moves to make here. We have Aaliyah as our starter with Muhammad as our backup. I like that. Tiger Gray is our starting first baseman with Tucker Long backing him up. And we have both Muhammad and Aaliyah that can go play first base if necessary. Second baseman, primarily Jack Mars. Secondary, our backup second baseman would end up being Colin, or the guy that we're bringing in here in a second. Then we'll have two players that can play second base. Fernanda Branch at third. She can play short. Sullivan Reddier. Short can play third. So they can be interchangeable with themselves. And then, as we were saying, Connor Sandoval also plays third base. So as necessary, we can put him there. Jonah Gonzalez, left fielder primarily. Don't ever expect to see him as catcher. Starting center fielder is Whistle. Backup Dash. Also Colby can play center field. Then we have Odin Thomas starting in right. Backup would be Colby and Dash and Whistle in a pinch. And I think that's it. I think we're in a good place. I think our team looks really good here. So let me bring in Connor Sandoval. That'll bring our power up a bit. The only thing that I'm seeing here is that our power is down a little bit, but Aaliyah Sesame has power. Tiger has some pop in his bat. Jack Mars has a lot of power. Connor has power. And he'll be probably our primary DH as well. Then we have Fernanda with some pop. We have Whistle with some pop and Odin Thomas. So honestly, I think that's a pretty solid lineup altogether. Contact looks good. Speed, we have some speedy players here. I also like that Dash, his 98 speed and his name is Dash. That's pretty cool. Hate that he has Slowpoke, though. I would say I would like a little bit more speed on the team, but I'm fine with this overall. Yeah, I'm good with this. And then starting pitching-wise, there's Asher, then there's Jess, then there's Clark, and then we have Colton Blackburn, and we have two lefties, and we have two righties. Our pitching staff, our bullpen, we have one long reliever here, an A-, an A-, an A-, and then two Bs. I think this is pretty solid. Our worst accuracy is Kansas, who's 20, so he can develop. And he's got some nasty stuff, and he's debuffing the hitters anyway. So I think that can help a lot. Jericho House did okay, and I think he can develop some more. Clark Cohen is our weakest link on this team. So I guess if there's anything we could do, it's potentially replacing him with a different starter. But he's going to have that Tier 3 Elite curveball. So let's just do a quick peek at the starting pitchers and see if there's any options to consider here. Clark is 7'5", so we have about 8'2" that we have a little bit of wiggle room for to be able to bring in to replace him. So if we were to go with, and we have a few lefties here, Clark is spirited, so we can get rid of him, but we can't bring in. It would either be Spirited, Crafty, or I mean, not Crafty, Spirited or Scholarly are our only options. So no to Raiden, no to Bam, no to Kellen, no to No, we could potentially bring in Banjo, and he's at 8.1, so that is an option for us. Really elite junk, really solid accuracy. Would have Tier 1 crossed up, which isn't ideal. Would have 3 off-speed pitches to go with that really great junk. That four-seam fastball would just be pretty much nothing. I kind of wanted a faster, or like a pitcher that has great speed. Jacob Leach is tempting here, but he's competitive, so we couldn't bring him in. Gander Quinto has too many negative traits, so I'm going to pass there. No there. Al McClay, I was kind of interested in as well, but I just think I was better off with Colton Blackburn. Let's see, Cash Duffy is a no. Loki McClay is a no. Um, McKinley Canto could be an option. She has 3 fastballs, but she has 42 velocity and junk. She has good accuracy. She's 25. So consistent isn't ideal. It'd be at tier 1. And then stimulated sucks on a starting pitcher because they almost never get that far into games. And then we have Homer, which I don't like bringing him back in, and Sophie Parsons, which I'm going to pass on her as well. So, yeah, we don't really have, I guess you could look at a short or a long reliever as our third starter as well. I don't like that idea, although Ramon McDonough is interesting. And then Trip Hahn. I don't like having three pitches on a starter. Kate Berg I was looking at a lot too, but again, disciplined. We only could bring in 2 of those players. So, yeah, I wanted to just do one more double check here. Actually, let me do another double check on our relief pitchers as well. So we could potentially replace Kansas Gibbs. But again, same thing. We have to bring in a reliever that's either spirited or scholarly. And so that would leave us with either Cinnamon Muddy Water, which would be too expensive, and she has surrounded. It would be Poppy Bassinet, which I'm not a fan of here. Not as good as Kansas. No to Jalaya and Amelia McKay we already passed on. She's not a bad option, though. And then if we go to Spirited, those Spirited options are Ramon McDonough, which we can't afford. Zane Sosa would have tier 3 reverse or tier 2 reverse splits, but has 2 fastballs and a changeup, so not much action on those pitches. And then we could potentially bring in Larry Butters, but that really low accuracy and the 3 straight pitches would have to pass on that. Ramon McDonough would be too expensive, I think, to replace Jericho or Kansas Gibbs. Would bring us to 9.5. Would actually be really curious to do this. 9.5 isn't bad. I really like tier 2 reverse splits on a lefty, though. And it would give us 2 starting or long relievers. There's a chance McDonough regresses. I'm going to have to hold off. I'm going to have to pass on McDonough, I think. It's tempting, but let's see. Do we see his career? Well, he had a 5.19 ERA last year. Not great. All right, I am going to just... I've been holding off for a little while here because I'm trying to be thorough. Let's do one more peek at position players really quick and make sure we're not missing anything. By the way, there was not a lot of intriguing traits that I saw that stuck out to me of players that I was interested in. So I did kind of... or at least like scholarly traits. All right, let's see. No one sticking out here. He'd be a utility outfielder option. Infielder. I'm not a fan of many of these other players. Pitching or catching wise. Turf Woodard would come back if he wasn't disciplined potentially to give us a little more flexibility. There's Jackson Saunders. Better than Tiger in some areas, but I think I'm fine with keeping Tiger. Grover Charles is an all-star, but he's 38. Yeah, I think I'm fine with where we're at first baseman wise, and second base, of course, we're good there. Aiden Woods. be interesting as well, but he's a downgrade from Connor Sandoval. Third baseman, Madison Zoner, Forrest Ponce, Alec Planner, Daxton Pennington was somebody I was interested in, but he's competitive. We don't have room for him on the roster. And then I don't really have any other flexibility options here. Charles Rangel's not bad. He's 5'3". He's crafty, though. And then our shortstop options, Theodore Powell, really low contact. Not a fan of that. So, all right. Other than that, I liked Raiden Real, but I thought that it would be better for us to go with the other left fielder. I just think he's going to be bigger impact right away. He was kind of better in all areas. Here, I'll show you the little comparison here. Jonah Gonzalez is just kind of better, and he'd have tier 3 little hack trait, which I like. So I'll take this route instead. A little bit of a weaker arm, but everything else is better. So that's the route I went with that one. And then outfielders, Fox Brennan was intriguing to me, but couldn't really make it work for him. And then Brennan Sesame, I was kind of curious about, but couldn't make anything work there. Castiel Andrews wasn't worth trying to make work, especially as disciplined. So that's going to be it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just skip through the end of the offseason here so we can take a look at the team. I'm glad I was able to make it work and still stay above 10 million. I was a little nervous with some of those decisions that I was making earlier that it wasn't going to fit, that we were going to overspend. But no, I think it ended up working out really well. Just do a quick peek at where people are at now that the off season is concluded, and none of these good players at the top there, those Bs, are interesting to me. No. Yeah, I think we're good with where we're at. No young players here. I guess Trail McFreddy. We'll just do watch on some of these younger players in case we start tanking again. Then we can look to bring some of them back. A couple of the players that we were looking at in our time, that were on our team before, we'll keep those starred as well. But yeah, that's where we're gonna call it. Oh, look, Milana Fernandez ended up getting released again. She's now at 4.2. I originally had her at 4.5. I don't know if I want to bring her in to replace Dash Boyd. Should be more flexibility on the infield, but Dash is faster. About same on the hitting side. Worse fielder and a better arm, but Milana, yeah, I'm going to keep Dash, I think. I'm happy with that. But that's interesting. All right, so that's where our team's set up. Let's go ahead and set the lineup for one of these games and see what it'll look like. Excuse me. So everybody is lined up exactly where I want them to be. Now, what would we do with the... Let's see, how would we set this lineup? We don't have any... Okay, so we don't have, like, our crazy speed guy, I don't think. It'd be Whistle or Sullivan Reddier. Let's put Sullivan at the top of the lineup, followed by Whistle Thornton. Then let's put Jack Mars at number 3. Odin Thomas at 4. Tiger Gray at 5. Then we could go with Aaliyah, then Connor, Jonah, and then Fernanda Branch being our worst hitter in this lineup. I don't know about you. It looks good to me. I think I'm pretty confident with this lineup as is. And if I take a look at who's on the bench, we have Dash Boyd, not going to be a hitter. He's more for the defense. We have Tucker Long, who's a solid bench bat, right? We could easily put him into the DH spot as well. We have Colby Foster, still in development, so he's a work in progress. And of course, emergency hitter there with Muhammad McCormick, but a good defender as well. Pitching wise, we'll have Asher Garcia, followed by Jess Trujillo, who bumps up into the number 2 spot in the rotation. And then we'll have Clark Cohen, and then Colton Blackburn, and then oh my God, it does look like they're related. So let's call Clark. What is that? A 9-year age difference? They could be cousins. Let's say they're cousins. Clark and Cairo Cohen brought together on the favorites. Let's see if they can work well together. We have developmental option Colton Blackburn, who's a workhorse. So now we have 2 workhorses on the team. And then we have a really solid bullpen. So I'm feeling hopeful. Oh, what did I? Oh, I wanted to do. I saved that. Let's simulate to the next game. 3 teams already won their first game. We are going to set watch. We are going to select uniform to the alt. Then we're going to come over here to my team, and we're going to do that. And that's how we're going to finish things off for this episode. We went 3-13 last year. The bar is on the ground. I am very hopeful. This team looks very vicious. I think we have a team that can really put us on the map this year, and I think a lot of these other teams in the league are ready to underestimate us. Let's not let that happen. I am excited for season 2 of the favorites. I hope that we can make some impact in this league and really shake things up. I hope you're ready for it. Thank you for bearing with that first season. Thank you for letting me kind of review some of these players in the offseason. And yeah, let's go for favorite season 2. Let me know what you think of the team. Who do you like? Who are some of your favorite players that we brought on? Who are you happy that we kept? Who are you sad we didn't bring back? Love to hear it in the comments down below. Thank you so much. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.